What's up guys, Trey here from AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're checking out these OE style fender flares with a smooth finish designed to fit the 2010 to 2018 Ram 2500 SRW. These fender flares are going to be perfect for Ram owners looking for a sleek, factory-inspired design that adds a little extra protection and style to their truck. These OE style fender flares offer a very clean, factory-inspired appearance while providing additional coverage for your wheel wells. They're ideal for trucks equipped with larger tires or aftermarket wheels, helping to keep dirt, debris, and road grime from damaging your truck's body. The smooth finish provides a nice customizable surface, perfect for those of you who want to color match their truck for a seamless look, or just leave it as is for a sleek black contrast. Made with this easy bolt-on design, these fender flares not only enhance the aesthetic of your Ram 2500, but also meet practical needs by extending that fender coverage just a little bit. They're made to complement the rugged look of your truck while ensuring compliance with regulations about tire coverage and not having any poke. Constructed from very durable polypropylene, these fender flares are built to withstand the rigors of daily driving and those off-road adventures. The material is known for its resistance to impacts, UV rays, and weathering, making these fender flares excellent long-term upgrades. The smooth surface ensures an even application of paint if you do choose to customize their color. The fender flares are designed for a precise fit, maintaining a secure attachment without the need for extensive modifications. This ensures a streamlined appearance that blends seamlessly with your truck's body lines. Now, as far as pricing goes on this set, they're coming in right around that $200 price range, offering a very affordable value for both functionality and the style it brings to your truck. Installation on these is going to be very straightforward with a bolt-on process that requires minimal effort. Rated a very simple 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter, the install can be completed in about 1 hour with some basic tools. We also sell a separate hardware kit for these on the website in case you break or lose the clips while you're taking off the old set. Now, let's see exactly how these go on with an install video from one of our American Trucks customers.
Here are the tools I'll be using for today's installation. I have my impact driver and my drill. My drill will be for the mud flaps in case I need to make some extra holes if they don't align on my fender flare. I've got a Phillips head screwdriver for the factory or the kit installed screws that'll be going on. I've got my 3/8 ratchet with my 1/4 inch adapter to my 5/16. Everything on my truck is 5/16. The kit comes with several other installed or included screws that you can use depending on your vehicle. You may need to use these. I, however, don't need to. All the bolts on my fender are 5/16. This is my socket that'll go on that. I'll be using this ratchet to get around the harder spots on the tire that aren't easy to reach with my impact driver. Here they have 5 clips included and 5 patches. The patches will go on the top of the fender where there is a missing factory screw. That's what this is for. And then you'll put a clip on that patch so that this can attach to the clip and hold that fender in place. I'll probably be using a smaller size drill to get on my mud flaps if need be, but those are what I'll be using for today. Today I've got my drill and my ratchet for the harder to reach places on the tire, and here I've got 2 patches for the driver's side. Both of them are going to go at the top, and there'll be a clip that'll go with this. It's the patches. This is the clip. And I'll only be doing the driver's side because the passenger side will be the same exact side, just on the other side of the truck. Now, for the beginning, I'm just going to take all these nuts and bolts off of the existing fender. I've got my fender flares right here. This will be the front, and this will be the rear because it is longer. Put those aside. I'll get right into this. So I'm going to take my drill and take as much as I can because eventually it'll get tighter, so I'll use this ratchet later. Put those aside for now. Now on my truck here, I do have a mud flap. You guys can see that here. My mud flap will go on with my fender flare. I'll just need to take this off first before I do anything else with it. Once I get this mud flap on, then I can do a dry fit, make sure everything works before I do the install in case I need to return anything. One, I'll get to the next one here. And about this time it'll be finger tight so I can just put my ratchet down. I have cleaned the side of my truck only as much as the fender flare is going to go on, just for purposes of I don't get any dirt or stuff behind my flare. This is my mud flap. I'll bring you back over to fender. So this is going to be my dry fit. So far, everything fits just fine. I have the factory bolts here that I'll be using with this. And then the one given nut and hatch that'll go at the top here. Here we are at the fender. This is the socket or hole I'm talking about. That's where I'll be putting in a kit installed screw and patch, and it'll go in this hole on the truck. Continuing with the install, now I can put my patches. This is where the patches will go on. I'll peel off, make sure the surface is clean. I've already wiped this off, so I don't need to do any more. I'll just remove this patch, just back off of this, and then place this on the hole where the new scroll screw will go. That's there. I'll put my clip over the hole. And then with a punch, you can poke that patch, make sure you can put a screw in. Here, I'm just going to use my factory bolt. Alright, so I just punctured that. I'll put the clip over this hole. There we go again. Everything works fine. Now, you may want to remove this piece. As for mine, my fender flare fits over just fine, so I won't need to worry about this. This gives me a little bit extra coverage on the piece of paint, so if there's any rust there, I don't need to worry about revealing that if I don't have to. I'm going to put some of the screws in place and just finger tight to hold this up. Put one more over here. So now the flare is on here, and I can continue putting the rest of the screws on. I'll just quickly do that. If it's not going in smooth, you might want to figure out if your threads are going in right, because you could cross thread these pretty easily, as most of the back of these will be a small metal clamp with not a lot of metal to grab onto. So don't cross thread your screws. And more down here. The fender flares are great for covering up rust. As this truck, I'm covering up some rust in the back. I have treated the rust and put some paint over it so that it doesn't continue to get worse. But for the look of it, I'm hiding that up. Fender flares are also good for adding something to the exterior of your truck. Add a little flare to the look of your truck. Now, to get these a little bit tighter before I put a ratchet on, I'm going to take my socket and just finger tight with my socket so I have something to grab onto. That's working really good. I'm getting these as tight with my fingers as possible before I add any more pressure. Particularly on the sides where I can't put a drill and where it's harder to reach, so that I don't come at the bolt or nut with a wrong angle and mess something up. Now I can go back to my impact drill and I'm not getting very tight with the drill because I don't want to strip these out either. This is where I'll come back with my ratchet and I'll finish this off just tight enough that I'm comfortable with it. Once it starts to resist enough, then I'll stop and back off. And then the last one will be this screw here. This is where I'll use a Phillips driver to finish that screw. This is where patience can be a big help, because if the screw doesn't go in right, just try again. Here I've got my Phillips head screwdriver and I'm going to finish this top screw right now. Alright, so everything is now tight. This is the fender flare. To add the mud flap, I'm just going to remove these two last bolts and bring those out, install the mud flap, and it works fine. As you see, here at the back now, we're going to start just as we did before. Take all the bolts off first and the mud flap, and then we're going to do a dry fit and make sure we got all the holes we need to in the right places, and then we'll put on the bolts. So first we'll take our driver and get everything off. Now we'll go to our ratchet and get the ones on the side that we can't get with our impact driver. After I get this last one, I'll just pull them off by my fingers as they're loose enough. Here's that patch and that clip that I did on the front, and that kit installed screw that we're putting on. So it's the patch. I'll put it right here in this hole. And then I'll take a punch versus I'm using my screw here, and I'll just punch that real quick. Now we can go and put the fender flare on and start putting some bolts on that. most of them. I'm going to look at the mud flap. I'm going to do a dry fit with the mud flap, getting some of this dirt off first. These holes don't align, so I will get my drill and punch these holes real quick, and then we'll continue on. I ended up having to drill that out a little bit more because the bit I used was just a little bit too tight for these screws here. So putting this back on, I'm going to match up those holes. That one fits just fine. Alright, those are finger tight now. I'll use my ratchet and continue on with tightening these up. Now the mud flap's on, and I'll continue on with the rest of these bolts.
All right, that's gonna wrap up our review and install of these OE style fender flares with a smooth finish for the 2010 to 2018 Ram 2500 SRWs. And for all things Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.